Congreso Internacional de Campamentos y Colonias en Tarragona. ¡Tarragona!
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for that beautiful intro. And this is so exciting. I can see so many familiar faces from around the world. And welcome to season 3 of our ICF Academy. And today is a very special day. It's one of the reasons why ICF exists. It's our ICC, our Congress, where every few years, typically 3, we get together as a world in person and talk about what we love best, which is creating a space for our kids and young staff members to be themselves. ICF history will also be looking at a little bit down memory lane. You'll see some familiar faces in those videos, and also looking towards the future. Why Spain? Why now? And I've gotten a preview of behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, I also got to present to our Quebec members 2 weeks ago. They got a preview as well, and I know that Quebec is very excited about participating with ICC Spain 2023. But before we meet with some very important guests today, here are a couple of videos to help us walk down memory lane.
The word Kumbayah apparently means come by here.
Kumbayah was almost like an explosion, a realization.
International Camping Congress, 1994 in Toronto. So this capacity. And finally I realized, oh my goodness, this is a great event.
When I come to international events, everybody gave me a camp heart.
Professionals in the field of organized children's camping gathered in Toronto, Canada for a unique and special International Camping Congress, Kumbayah 1994.
We waited patiently for this day, and we are overwhelmed by the support and the enthusiasm that you have shown. May I wish you a lifetime of hope and realization that we can influence positively the lives and the attitudes of the children and adults whom we lead.
We had a competition to come up with the theme for the Congress, and it was John Jorgenson's idea to call it Kumbayah. We grabbed the theme and put the 7 colors of the rainbow and had 7 different program streams. So the entire Congress reflected on the idea of come by here from around the world, and we are all under one sky, one rainbow.
I think that the thing to realize is that Kumbayah was almost like an explosion, a realization. There were these explorations that went on in the years before. I remember Northland Calling in Minnesota when groups from Canada and the United States got together and said, you know, we're doing much the same thing. Then, of course, in 1983, there was a Congress event here in Toronto that was great fun, and there were the smatterings of some other countries that were interested, Japan and elsewhere. And then in Washington in 1987, when we really gathered together the CCA and the ACA foregoing or at least expanding their annual conference to be as inclusive as possible, and suddenly, boom, countries that we had no idea that there was active camping program going on, suddenly they were there, and the story is told of kind of a magic meeting up in the president's suite, where by the end there was a declaration made in Washington to say we shall not disband, and it's time that the International Camping Group assemble. So ICF really didn't exist prior to that time. So it was this third Congress, the Kumbayah event, that was the place where ICF came as a toddler and joined ACA and joined CCA, and most importantly joined OCA's army of volunteers to create Kumbayah.
Kumbayah attracted over 1,500 delegates from 37 countries to discuss various aspects of the growing world of organized camping. Children's camping is enormously popular in many countries, and the representations by experts from these countries help delegates to globalize their thinking and recognize camping as a character builder and an important dimension of a child's development.
We all know how in the West we polluted the air.
May our journey together these next 2 days give us inspiration for ourselves, for the children and young people that we lead in our lives together in the years to come. Bon chance and enjoy. Thank you.
If you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
It was so nice to see so many familiar faces, and you know, nothing can really compare to being in person. To kick us off today, our first guest speaker is no more than my mentor and all around amazing individual. Jorgie is going to take us on a little bit of a path of the history of ICF. Jorgie, why don't you join me on stage?
Thanks very much, Gabs. That was a wonderful retrospective. Like many of us, I was at all three of those events, and they were amazing. In fact, I can identify memories at each of these 12 events that are listed here. ICC 2023 will be the 12th International Congress. Over 35 years, it's been an amazing journey around the world, and the ICF Butterfly is finally headed to Spain. There are actually 2 international congresses, as you saw in the Kumbayah video, that were in the 5 years before ICF was actually formed. And then after 1983, the Congress in Toronto, the ACA in USA and OCA in Canada went to Washington, DC, and that's where it really happened. The reason that the ICF logo is a butterfly is because of an art contest to design the logo for this Washington Congress. The theme of the conference was Our Fragile World, and an art student got the idea to place the world in the delicate wings of the butterfly. And the idea of the ICF butterfly was born at this Congress. And so ICF requested and then got permission to use the logo for the first years. And then it was on to Toronto for the first truly ICF involved event. ICF was an active partner in that third International Congress with delegates from even more countries. And then in the year after, or the year before Kumbayah, the St. Petersburg Camping Association was organized. They are actually just celebrating their 30th anniversary, I think this year or early next. And so the St. Petersburg Camping Association came forward and said, we would like to bring the first Congress outside North America. And so we went to St. Petersburg, Russia, and we participated there in the Nevsky Forum on the shore of the Neva River. The National Camping Association Japan actually has quite a long history, and they said, we'll offer a Congress opportunity next. And so in the year 2000, they invited us to go to Tokyo, and the theme was towards a new camping culture. From there, we went to a new continent, and the Young Camping Association of Victoria in Australia, eventually becoming the ACA, hosted us on the campus of Monash University, included a research forum for the first time, and we ended up at a bush party on a sheep farm at the end of the conference. In Mexico, 2005, we were back in the city for part of the time, out in the country for camp tours, and then included a first-time ICDC as part of the Congress event, and the first gathering of what is now called the ICF Association Network. 2008, the Congress joined World Leisure in a special conference partnership. And we held a very memorable Congress that you saw in that video clip. There was an all-delegate hockey game to start us off, major speakers, and the very first performance of the camp song by Peter Katz, pardon me. In 2011, we went to the city of Hong Kong and partnered with the Asia Oceania Camping Congress and held the Congress at a camp. This Congress opened the doors for more conversation with mainland China that has continued right to today. And in 2014, Turkey. The theme was Let's Camp for Peace. We're at a Congress site at a resort on the shores of the Mediterranean, several ICDC events in different languages, and we reached into countries that had not yet joined the ICF. An invitation back to Russia in 2017, another event that shared the learning with an organization called Kid Pro. And we were in the Olympic Village venue that was used for the alpine skiing at Sochi. And we utilized the brand new Congress facility that had been
Jorgie, I think we lost your sound for a moment.
Hello, my name is John Jorgenson. Where are we? So I was just talking about, I went from Russia at Sochi on to China. And just prior to our intended destination in Beijing, COVID stopped us. And it stopped us once, it stopped us twice. And one day we'll be back to China, but right now is not the time. Nevertheless, camp people are resilient. And so we have made the decision to move on. And this is the time to come together and rise higher. And we're off to Tarragona, Spain. It's the place where the next chapter of the Congress will be made. And I hope we'll see everybody there.
Thank you so much, Jorge. I've heard you talk about this a couple of times before, and every time I learn something new, and I absolutely appreciate it. My first Congress was in 1994 in Toronto, and I got to meet the famous and very impactful Jane Goodall. Every Congress, I have memories of people that are here in the Zoom room of sitting down and connecting over a drink or meeting in a hallway. It truly is a magical experience. We were lucky that our Congress committee did meet in Spain, and we have some videos of those individuals and what the conference means to them. And for a lot of people, when we're traveling, we want to know, how do we get there? And this next video is going to show a little bit of where we are going. But just to let you know, we fly into Barcelona, and there is an hour, somebody will greet you, and then we have an hour transportation either by bus or to train to Tarragona. And from our hotel, it's a 2-minute walk. So we get to walk to our Congress centers. So this is, everything is really thought out when it comes to the Congress in Spain. The committee has done a fabulous job when it comes to the beginning of our stay all the way to the end.
Something important you should all know before you come to the Congress here in Spain is that we need to learn how to pronounce the city where the Congress is held. And this city is called Tarragona. How do you roll the R? You have to put your tongue, roll, Tarragona. Tarragona. So we are coming here, the Congress is in Tarragona.
Tarragona. Tarragona? Tarragona. 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 But the correct one is Tarragona.
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 Sí, Tarragona. Congreso Internacional de Campamentos y Colonias en Tarragona. ¡Tarragona!
Our Congress is hosted in Tarragona, if you got that, Tarragona. And it is actually in a theme park. This is a place where we can go to connect with people, learn, but also if we want to bring family members, friends, loved ones, there's an entire theme park that is available to them. Now, I've never been a car person per se, but there's a special spot in this theme park that has a Ferrari theme park. So there's something for everybody in Tarragona for our ICC Spain Congress. Let's check out this next video.
A los que os habéis emocionado como la primera vez. A los que habéis vivido una experiencia única, llena de recuerdos increíbles. A los que os habéis apasionado, ilusionado y vivido cada segundo como si fuera único. Ha sido un año especial, en la que una vez más, juntos, hemos conseguido seguir viviendo algo extraordinario. Por eso, a todos, infinitas gracias. Tan infinitas como las emociones que sentimos en PortAventura World.
I'd like to invite my good friend Alexia to the stage with me. Alexia is somebody for me that can take something that can seem complicated and make it quite simple. And she's going to talk about the details of the Congress, the piece that a lot of us need to know, but maybe don't know always how to explain. So Alexia, can you walk us through a little bit? What are the logistics and what can we expect from this Congress?
Okay, Gabs, can you hear me?
properly?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. So think of it as the Congress in the middle and what you can do before the Congress and after the Congress. Simple enough? Yes. So before the Congress, you can go to pre-Congress tours, and after the Congress, you can do the same, post-Congress tours. Before the Congress, you can apply to participate in an ICDC or a train-the-trainer ICDC. Yes, Tennant, I can see you. And then the Congress starts. If you only want to come for the Congress, plan to arrive on the 4th of October. Then you can leave your stuff in the hotel, and with the key of your room, which is also a daily pass to the theme park, you can go to the theme park and play until the registration desk of the ICC is open. We're going to have like a welcome reception, dinner at 7:30, something like that, and a welcoming party. That is on the 4th. Of course, on the 4th, it's your time to find all your friends and meet new ones, because we're all going to be there. We're all going to have ICC t-shirts on, so you know who is who. On the 5th, we start with, let's say, an optional morning activity, which is called the Breakfast Club. This is informal gatherings of groups like Thanks to Camp, Women in Camp, maybe some morning exercise, and regional meetings of camps. In past congresses, the European participants have enjoyed breakfast networking conversations together. So we continue. We have keynote presentations, plenary panels, lunch, and then 3 to 4 blocks of 6 to 7 parallel sessions and workshops. This is everything on the 5th of October. After that, on that specific day, we have an optional workshop with Jim Cain, who I think is here with us today. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to the theme park. You can go to the nearby beach. You can visit the nearby towns of Salou and Tarragona. Dinner is at 7. On October 6th, we start sort of the same.
Sí, sí, te escucho. No, que estábamos viendo la parte de...
I can hear someone. Simon?
We got it. And actually, Simon, can we put up the presentation? Because I think this little piece that you're talking about, Alexia, is really helpful to see the actual, the actual schedule, because there's so much that is happening, but I think how it's organized, you can really find the path that fits you. Please continue,
That fits
Alexia.
you, yes. And so on the 6th, again, we start with the breakfast club, the keynote session, the plenaries, lunch, and then we have 2 or 3 blocks of parallel sessions and workshops, because on that afternoon, we want to go on a camp study tour. If we're going to go to a Spanish camp, see how they're organized, get to talk with the owners, you know, all the good things that go with the camp tour. If you don't want to do that, you can go to the beach, go to the nearby towns for sightseeing, or you can go to the theme park again. Next day is the last day of the Congress. We have the same structure with the keynotes, the plenary, and the parallel sessions and workshops. But at the end of the day, there is the closing ceremony, award giving. I don't know if you know about the ICF Awards. And then at night is the gala dinner. In the meantime, if you find some time, you can go to the theme park and play. The last day is October 8th. It is checkout day, and you can go on post-Congress tours, as I said earlier, or return home.
And I think that for anybody that's gone on a post or pre-Congress tour, there's something about connecting with friends. So if you go on the pre-Congress tour, you're making friends. If you're going on the post, you're still making friends, or you're connecting with people that you had during the Congress. But what I find really exciting about this is that it's all organized for us. We just choose the package that we want to join. Is that correct? With the pre
that
and the
is correct.
post?
Yes, there is also a travel agency that is available. You can communicate with them directly and make the bookings you want. You cannot go wrong with Spain. Anything you choose is going to be amazing, Don't worry about that. And I find that sometimes people from the same country get organized and go on the tour together. But you know, if you don't like large groups, just ask 2 or 3 friends. Another thing you can't go wrong with is the ICDC. If you are thinking about participating, do it. I have never met an ICDC participant who wasn't extremely excited about what they did. Not just satisfied, extremely excited. So I suggest that as well.
And can you just share what the acronym stands for ICDC? What is that exactly for some people that might not know what that means?
It is the International Camp Directors course, and it is designed for camp directors, how do you call it, chiefs, or people who are, let's say, higher level at camp, not for counselors. This is for people who would organize a camp or start a camp from scratch.
Yes, it's a truly all-inclusive program for camp leaders that are leading, envisioning camp. And as an alumni, an ICDC alumni, you know, represent Mexico. It was truly one of the most important, valuable educational programs that I experienced, not only because of the content, but because it is international. You are learning constantly from every single member that is in that space with you.
And especially for the Congress, there is the opportunity to participate in the Train the Trainer ICDC. For both of them, you have to apply and be accepted before you complete your registration. The Train the Trainer has the extra thing that you have to have participated in an ICDC before to be eligible to apply for the Train the Trainer. And this is only available during right before an ICC, International Camping Congress, in case you're wondering what this acronym is about.
Thank you. And we don't want to have too many spoilers because we have Tennant that's just around the corner that's going to talk to us a little bit more about ICDC. Alexia, thank you so much. And as we mentioned before, a lot of the information that you just talked about is on the website. Is that correct?
Yes, and the website is being updated all the time with the new speakers and topics. But the main information is there, and also the registration information is there, but I don't know if you want to talk about this right now.
We will get to that in a moment. Thank you so much, Alexia. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. I met this person, really connected with Fahri in Hong Kong and his passion about camp and how he looked at camp in such a different way than I had. And I learned so much from him. Fahri, I'd love to invite you to the stage and talk about how this Congress does have some similarities from past Congresses. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Thank you, Gabs, and thank you, Alexia, and all the members of the organizing committee for this wonderful work, especially to Carolina for being the main host in this amazing Congress. We are all excited because we had to skip, we had to cancel China, and we haven't been able to see our beloved friends from all over the world to exchange ideas, to give hugs. But I mean, we are 100% sure that this Congress will be fantastic. And if you ask me what are the similarities, the Congress in Spain will be as the previous ones. I mean, I can say just a few words. It will be lots of sharing, lots of information, new things to learn, because we all know that this last 2-3 years taught us a lot, and some of the ideas had to be put on the table and shared with others, because we don't need to waste time to learn by ourselves and learn from each other. And lots of information, lots of inspiration, I guarantee, because when we had chats with the speakers and like the organizing committee and the host travel agents, etc., lots of interesting and inspirational things will happen, I guarantee, and lots of fun as always. And I can't wait. I look forward to meet all of you.
Thank you, Fahri. And as the president, I appreciate you for taking the time today with us. And as you're mentioning, this is a Congress that is designed by camp directors, and camp directors think of everything from the moment that you get off the plane to the moment that you get back on the plane. Those connections that we want you to make, the experience that we want you to have, it has to be a whole experience. And that for me is something I've experienced at every single Congress that I've been to. You know, when we're talking about going to the Congress, a lot of people, you know, need to convince their board members or their executive directors, or sometimes we even have to convince ourselves, why would I spend this time? Why would I spend this money to go to a Congress where I'm truly going to obviously have a good time? But how is this going to impact me professionally? How is this going to help my business grow? I'm going to share my own personal story at the very end of this workshop today, but here's a video just to get us started off.
My advice is to make sure you read all the information first and plan ahead, because there's so much that Congress offer that you don't want to miss out, because this happened to me at first, not knowing that there was something going on. So you have to read, make sure you plan, and you organize yourself so that you can do everything you want during the Congress.
To me, it's very important to review the program and make a schedule of which presentations you want to be part of and what is your goal of the ICC. So it could be a specific theme, or it could be just networking and get to know people from the camp world. Try to mingle as much as you can and talk to everyone you can. You will find amazing people that do what you do in their own countries and that they're willing to share.
Coming to an ICC for the first time personally in Hong Kong in 2011, I was surprised. The people there at the Congress were extremely welcoming. It was unlike any other conference that I've been to for any other industry. And you know, that comes as no surprise. Camp people are great and fun and warm, loving people. It's a heart-to-heart business, right? What we do. So I would say that just come with knowing that you're going to make some friends, you're going to make some great connections. People are going to be very welcoming. I think it's a very welcoming community. So that's one thing. So how to prepare.
I'd like to invite Carolina to the stage, our program chair for the Congress. And Carolina, your passion about camp, your passion about Spain is infectious. Every time you talk about it, I can't help but smile. Tell us how some things are going to be maybe a little bit different because we are going to Spain at this Congress.
I can think of 5 reasons why this Congress is going to be different. Number one, it's the first Congress since, for 6 years, to have stopped the contact with our colleagues for so long. This is going to be a very important point. On top of that, we also had COVID, which means that there's so many things we have to talk about, so many experiences we want to share. Those who were able to open their camps and how did they deal with these problems. So that's one of the reasons. Number 2 is, I think, the first time which is going to be held in an EU country. European Union, we know there's so many countries that organize camps and the experience out there which we haven't heard of. And I think it's going to be a good opportunity to be able to open to the European Union countries. Number 3, Spain. You know, Spain is a great destination. It's one of the, I think it's the 4th country destination in 2022 from a research that MasterCard did. So I think it's an important destination and ideal to bring your families and get to know Spain. Number 4, not only Spain, but also Tarragona, as we mentioned. I think it's going to be the very first time we are doing an event like this in Tarragona, especially about camps and the camp community. We have many, many camps around the area. So it's a good opportunity to come over. And on top of that, just like the little last drop, in a resort where everything is so nearby. We have the hotel, we have the conference rooms, we have everything within 3-minute walk. And to be able to be a child again and go and run around and do everything in the park, I think it's going to be wonderful. So for us to be able to be in this destination and to offer all these 5 different things, I think it's going to be great. So thank you.
I love those top 5, and there's so many of those that speak to me. I think for me, the number 1 is the fact that we haven't been able to come together in such a long time, and we have so much to learn from each other when it comes with dealing with the impact of the stress of the past 3 years on our campers and our staff members. But truly, the fact that we are in Europe and all of these different experiences has always added to the magic of an ICC, and it truly is magical. Thank you again, Catalina. Appreciate your words as usual. I'd like to bring my good friend Pablo to the stage. Pablo, when watching that video that we just saw earlier, you were talking about how you got involved with the Mexican Camp Association and your reluctancy at first, and truly with ICC and having those connections, it helped to broaden a little bit more your role as a camp professional. Can you talk and elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, first of all, yes, I've been to 4 ICCs, even though nobody remembers me there. But every time I've been to one of them, I come back to my country with a lot of ideas and a lot of things I want to do and implement. I think people in the office hate that I go to ICCs because I just come back trying to change everything and do things in another way. There are 3 main things that has helped me change my marketing approach after the ICCs. The first one was a presentation by Jeff, I think it was in Quebec, about the way he marketed his summer camps. And it blew my mind because he was doing so much for the families between camps. And we were like, those people are still there the rest of the year, and you cannot just run away and pretend that they're going to be back the next year without doing something in the middle. So that was one of the things that I really loved. The second one was a presentation in Antalya, Turkey, from Tom Rosenberg from the American Camp Association. And he was talking about the value of camp and why camp is important. And the most important about this presentation was that it was fact-based. And this, we've been using it a lot to talk to parents and talk to schools about the importance and why kids need this experience. And it's not just fun. And having said that, it's not just fun. My third thing that has changed my approach to marketing and to trying to sell my camps is the Thanks to Camp and More Than Just Fun campaign that the Canadian Camp Association did, and that was presented, I think it was in Sochi, in Russia, which was, it's amazing because it's a great way of changing the approach from just come to have fun to come to have new tools for your life. So I'm really excited about what's going to be the next big thing we learn now in Tarragona. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. And I really invite people that have not been there to give themselves and their camps the opportunity to learn from others and to make connections, because that's the most valuable thing.
Thank you, Pablo. As usual, I always appreciate what you have to say. And also, I enjoy the scenery, to be honest. Love the view that we got from your presentation. Thank you so much. When we're talking about the Congress, we have this wonderful next video that's coming up. How has the Congress impacted your camp operations? Smel, why don't you put that on for us?
My attendance to the camp Congress has really impacted my operations back in Mexico. I went there and I met people that did things in a different way and in a better way than I did. And I tried to, I would say, regionalize those ideas and then implement them back home. And it has been a big success on our end. Many of the things that we do differently right now, it's because we found out about them or we heard about them at a Congress.
I've met a lot of people from other countries who have been operating their camps for many years. So just discussing with them in parallel what we do at our camps, and some things are a little bit better their way, some things are a little bit better my way. So we just exchange information, and that's always nice to go back to my camp and say, hey, these guys are doing it that way. Should we try it this year? And very often it is very successful.
In the early days, we also ran a camp agency. So we would send children from China to camps in North America and across the world. And obviously since COVID, that's made things difficult. But anywho, because of the Congress, I was able to meet people from camps all over the world, like I said before, and many of these that became partners of ours and some very close friends to this day. You know who you are. And so that's obviously one big way. I mean, the business connections that you make from the camp, Congress, also that goes without saying, the relationships that you'll forge on a social and personal level, that's also huge gain.
Attending camp conference definitely helps me improve my camp operations. Right? The three things that I learned from it. The first one will be to learn new ways of doing things, to learn different views, how to incorporate things into the camp. Right? The second will be to unlearn. There are many things that we always think that we are doing correctly, but once we come together in a community where you share and hear from other people, you will know that there are ways that should not be done in a certain way that we always have been doing. And the third is to relearn. Relearn meaning that we have our ways of doing camp, and how can we make it better? Right? Although we are doing it well, but how can we even make it better? So learning from all the camp professionals around the world in the conference definitely helps me improve every aspect of my camp operations. So come join us in the next conference.
Great video. I love that learn, unlearn, relearn. And I think as I get older, I learn how much I don't know. So I'm excited about my relearning portion. Tennant, you are directly connected to the ICDC program, to the Train the Trainers. As I mentioned before, I'm an alumni, proud graduate of the ICDC program from specifically Mexico. This was a pivotal moment in my life as a camp professional. I grew up in camp. My parents' friends are camp professionals. And when I took this course, I truly started to understand the behind the scenes of being a camp professional, camp director, and that connection with those other participants and the instructors. Can you tell us more about what participants could expect from an ICDC program or a Train the Trainer?
Sure, thanks, Gab. Hi, hola, everybody. My name is Tennant. ICDC, or what we call International Camp Directors Course, have three main goals. The first one is to provide an experience for camp professionals to come together to learn. Right? Not many countries have a professional development for camp staff, and ICDC provides that platform. Right? And the second part is to share this knowledge, right, of camp management with all these camp professionals. All in all, there are 17 modules or 17 sessions in the whole course. It is like a mini MBA, right? You will learn things about leadership, organization structure, HR, human resource, right, all the way to marketing, business, finance, and how do you conduct a good evaluation for your camp. So all 17 modules are packed into a 4 days course, and that's why we call this really a mini MBA, where you have all these camp management programs in this short time. And the third one, and also one of the most important, is to provide a platform for people to network, to come together. And I'm sure many of you who have taken ICDC here, you remember your model camp presentation, right? Or you may even remember the night before, how much effort you put into putting all these presentations together, right? This year has been special because I think we are restarting, right? To have ICDC again. The first one happened in July in Australia, and we just had one in November in Kazan in Russia. And one of my co-trainer, Rifat, is also here. And for those people who have been to an ICDC, you will know of all the friendship that you build together, the works that you put together. It is a quality piece of work. And something special about ICDC in ICC in before a conference is you get this international mix, right? Not only will you learn from your own country, but a lot of times you learn from people of other countries, other culture. And you've been to this, you will agree with me. I know there's a request, there's always been requests. Tennant, can we have ICDC online? And if you have been a participant, many of you will agree that no, you cannot substitute this experience of coming together for an online course. Just like if I ask all of you to conduct your camps online, you don't want, we need to re-socialize people to come together to learn, right? And to share ideas. And that's where the sparks fly. And we are also having a train the trainer course because we want to train enough trainers for you to support the ICDC in your own country, right? And ICDC train the trainers is special. We would like to invite people who have taken ICDC to come on board because you have gone through what it is to be like in the ICDC, and that really helps. But of course, I think we know that the past 2 years we did not have any ICDC, so we will be considering, if you have enough experience other than attending ICDC course, what are your management experience, any experience in training, and that we may take into consideration. You will have faculty, not only from me, I'm part of the faculty, but we will have Connie from US and also Juan Mario from Colombia coming on board. And we're still finalizing the faculty to come on board for this. And one of the best thing is we're going to end ICDC on the 4th, just before lunchtime, so that you can go to the conference area, right? Go to the theme park before you had that ICC conference.
Thank you so much, Tennant. It truly is such a key component for a lot of camp professionals, and it's a university-like experience in a condensed format. And as somebody that does need practical learning to absorb information, I found that this course had an amazing theoretical background with a practical component so that I could absorb that information. We could talk about this for hours, and maybe you and I will, but thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, and great instructors that will be present for this course, but truly the kinship between the students is something that I will always hold dear to my heart, and my camp is a better organization because I took this course. In our next video, we want to hear about how the Congress has shifted people's camp models. As it was mentioned a couple of times before, when we're running camp, sometimes we think this is the only way. And when our eyes are opened up, we can start to see we can adapt to make our camp more intentional for our campers, for our staff members, for our families. Let's check out this next video.
one of the things we applied, we didn't really expect to find people who were organizing their timetables differently, because we thought we had been doing this for so many years that we thought that it was the only way to do it. So when we heard things like, for example, we as a camp group organization, all the students, all the campers are displayed in activities. And things like going to the pool, we used to do everyone at once, thinking that it was a good idea to have them all together so that they could share and make friends and so on. And then someone told us, how come you have a pool which is empty during the rest of the time? You should be organizing different groups so that you make the most of that space. So we applied that in our camps. And not only that, but also the organization of the activities, thinking and opening our minds and changing a little bit our program after we went to the camp, so to the Congress. So for us, it was very beneficial, and it was, if I can say that, someone from Poland who told me that.
So, for example, I heard a presentation about camp marketing from Jeff, I think it was in Quebec, and since then we've changed the way we approach parents on the selling of camp, and it has been very, very important to us since then. I also heard another presentation from Michael Brownswain about how to help a kid solve a problem, and that's part of our training for the staff right now. Part of our most important training is that process of how to help a kid solve a problem. And if I wouldn't have been there, maybe we wouldn't have that as part of our training right now.
So I wanted to tell you one of my favorite things about the Congress is the camp tours. You go to another camp, and I'm always jealous because I think the other camps are so much better than mine. But there you learn even more because you get to ask. You have the chance to ask the owner of the camp about operations, little secrets, how they do this, how to do that, and it's a great learning experience.
At the Congress, there are just so many ideas that come back to each of us. In our camp, we have international programs now and international recognitions. We bring in games from other countries. We sing songs from other countries. And most importantly, we have visitors from other countries. We've had camper groups as well as staff and directors, and you really feel like your camp becomes part of a worldwide community.
It's a great question, and it's not just one story, it's many stories. I've been to congresses over the last 30 years, and every congress I go to, in presentations, in small discussions, at meals, on a bus for a program, we're always talking about our camps and what we do, and each time I learn something new. Sometimes it's a big change for our camp, sometimes it's small things that will make a big difference. So no matter where we are in the world, we can learn from each other.
I'm loving these videos. I'd like to invite our good friend, my good friend Masako, to the stage. We started our Congress journey, I believe, together in Toronto in 1994. Is that correct, Masako? You were in Toronto many moons ago, I think. And for me, you know, as a young camp professional, when I first started out, I thought, you know, camp is all about heart. It's all about magic. And as I got older, I was more curious about how do we create that camp magic? How do we create that feeling? And there is a true value when it comes to research and communicating with not only our families, but authority figures. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm Masako. So we, as researchers, need some things to be able to continue with our researches, subject and people who help us, and time and money. But the two most important things are new ideas and motivation, I think. So in ICC, people gather from various countries to share their research and reports based on their culture and different ways of doing things. So connecting with these people give me or gives us new ideas, new materials, and new stories. As in my case, I organize camps for deaf children. However, research and information on special needs camps are very limited in Japan. So when I joined ICC and ILCC, I had the opportunity to participate in a panel discussion on camps for special needs. So interacting directly with people from US, Canada, Australia, and Peru, I could see how unique and specialized their programs and researches are. And most importantly, I could felt their commitment, passion, motivation, and consideration. This experience gave me power and inspiration to do my best. So this is why the research is an important part of ICC for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Don Gato. Masako, very much appreciated. And research for me, and I think for a lot of the camp community, it's very important, especially when we're trying to translate to our families, to authority figures, you know, the impact that camp has on our kids and our staff members. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to invite Jeff Bradshaw to the stage. Jeff and I have known each other for a long time as somebody that has influenced me and my camp career. And one of the special moments that I've had with Jeff is having those conversations in the hallways at conferences. Can you talk about some of your chats that you've had at congresses that have impacted you and your organization?
Thanks, Gabs. I sure can. Hi, everybody. This is great to see all of your faces from really all over the world today. It's quite remarkable, as usual, when we gather together. I knew about this question a while ago, and I've been thinking for the last week or so how to answer it. I'm going to give you one quick example. A lot of us on this screen are directors, are managers, are operators, some are owners, and we have our own camp operations. And then a lot of us also work with camping associations. And I think of one particular connection through ICF I've had at congresses that's made a difference on everything I've done in my life. And it's with some friends that a number of us have known over the years, Bill and Jenny Bowker from Australia. I had the good fortune of getting to know them really well about 30 years ago. And the ripple effect of the connection with the Bowkers has been remarkable. It began with a conversation about their own camp operation, how they'd evolved Kangarooby in Australia, and especially about the work they did with schools. Most of us know the Australian model is different than a lot of us will do around the world. They work with schools in terms of real partnerships. So for us, this Bowker connection, first of all, began with learning about the model, working with schools and school boards, about partnerships, about effective communication. Then it expanded. We started talking a lot more about standards. And so we took from Australia and a trip I had with the Bowkers and brought back to Canada a new way of looking at standards, which we adopted here in Ontario with standards review. And then those ripples continue. A number of us have had, I think somewhere Villari might be here, have had a connection with a camp in Australia called Lord and Lady Summers Camp. This is a camp program the Bowkers were really involved with. And so I've had a chance to go and be a part of the staff team there. I've had staff from our camp go down there as well. So, what began as a small conversation at a meal with Bill and with Jenny Bowker evolved over many, many years to be so many different things. And I think that's one of the great things about the Congress is those moments that you may not think anything about can be major changes in your own life, in your camp's life, in your association's life. And I'm forever thankful for that. So take full advantage of this opportunity. Make sure you're fully engaged if you're at a Congress. Don't miss a meal, don't miss an event, don't miss a moment where you might be able to reach out a hand and say hello to somebody. It can really change your life. Thanks, Gabs.
And I thank you so much, Jeff. And I love the idea of ripple effects, and that is how our industry truly grows. And our industry is very special that way in embracing, sharing our best practices, because at the end, we're trying to come together as a group to create a special space for our campers, our staff members, our families. Speaking of ripple effects, I'd love to invite Pablo to the stage and talk about a little bit about the ripple effect when he learned about marketing. I saw Pablo talking about this video, in the video, marketing and how you spoke to your family and how that shifted because of ICC Congress.
Yeah, totally. As I said before, there was a way we were doing things before the Congresses and a way we're doing things after the Congress. And one of the things I like the most about this international events is that people are very willing to share and to share what they do great and help you achieve that greatness. And that's one of the things that not only as a camp, but as a member of the Mexican Camp Association, we decided to start doing and to share as much as we can with the rest of the Mexican camps. And I would say that from being in a culture where we saw each other as competition, we started seeing each other as friends and as allies and as people that could help each other. And I can say that I've learned a lot from international camps, and in these past years, I've been privileged enough to learn a lot from our Mexican other camps. And this was all a mind shift that happened by realizing that even though we all do songs, we all do activities, and we all do, I would say, basically the same, we all do it differently. And by sharing, we're not giving out our secret recipe. We're really making each other better. And parents love to hear about this. They love to hear somebody talk and say good things about the competition. And every time I step in a room full of parents and give my presentation, I always talk about the value of what we've learned from other camps that do great things. And maybe that's not as normal in Mexico, where people are expected to talk shit about others. And by becoming a big family, I think that is transmitted to the parents. And
yes, and that's truly a value system.
Is to become better. Yeah, basically, yeah.
It truly is a value system. I think at an ICC Congress, at the Congress that we experience is that that value of sharing. And that's something that's been instilled in me, that we share our best practices, because once it's out there, it pushes us to do differently or look at things differently and make our organization better. But also our ultimate goal is not to have this kid come to our camp. Our ultimate goal is to have this kid go to camp, and the right camp. And that's why the stronger we are as an association, the stronger our camp families will be surrounded by very sound organizations. My good friend.
Also, one thing.
Sorry,
one
yes,
thing,
Pablo.
Also, yeah, one thing that I've realized is that when other people see you share, they feel that need to share back, and this makes the ball roll, and this sharing becomes bigger. So when you share, you're not giving something away from you. You're just inviting people to share with you back, and that's very great. Well, that's great.
Truly, it's a momentum, and we see that within our own camps, and that's what ICC is all about. Thank you again so much, Pablo. I'd like to bring in Simon, my teammate, to the stage. Simon and I were chatting about, we've both have had the experience of the positive impact that Congress can bring to you. But when you're talking to somebody else and you're trying to convince them, spend the money, there's business opportunities. Simon, can you speak more to the business side of the value of going to a Congress?
You should go to the Congress for the food, just only for, no, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
Business, we work in camps, and we love camps, and we enjoy going to camp and providing a great experience for families and kids. But also, and I guess I'm speaking to everyone here, we live from camps, and we pay our expenses from camp. So we need to understand the business side of camp, and also kind of get what we want from camp. So we want to have a great experience. We want to have opportunities for families, for kids, but also make a living. So why will you spend some money going to the Congress? Well, because you can get, as Pablo mentioned, or Jim Cain mentioned in the chat, you get ideas, and you don't change of place. You don't travel to change of place, but you travel to change your ideas. And this is what Hippolyte Taine, a French philosopher, mentioned or said. So what kind of ideas I got from the Congresses? Well, in 2008, I saw Jeff, who we just had in the screen, how he communicated with his families through the Winona Warbler, the newsletter that Winona have. And even though we don't have a newsletter in Iguana's camp, we do share a lot of information with parents. We record videos. We are always on the screen. So we changed the way we communicate with parents, because we went to the Congress and we understood what other people was doing. I also got a lot of ideas from going to Somerset Learning Center in Australia, where my good friend Paul Collier is, and he's a great camp director and ICDC trainer as well, whom I met through the ICDC in 2008 in Canada. And he just said, come and see our program. And it's quite different from any program I've seen around the world. Even though we don't do the same program, we got a lot of ideas, and we tropicalize it and we use it. So you get these ideas, you understand the program. This is why you need to go to the Congress live and understand what people is mentioning. And then through the connections, through the conversation, you get to travel to these other places, or you get to see or to understand the ideas, and then you put it into your organization or your community. So this is the great opportunity of going to the Congress, and why it makes sense to save some money and take the time to go to the Congress. Thank you so much, Katz, and everyone here. We got people from all over the world today.
Truly, Simon, and your entrepreneur spirit, that creativity, when you have that, the Congress is, it's just food for your camp. I'd like to invite my good friend Marco up on the stage. Marco and I have met a couple of times at different congresses. Marco, it's so nice to see you again. And I'm interested in, you have a unique take on business opportunities when it comes to an international camping congress. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, sure, Gabs. Can everybody hear me? Just testing my mic.
Yes, it sounds
Good to go.
crystal clear. Thanks.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, thanks again, Gabs, for giving me the stage. Thanks, all the organizers, you, Alexia, Simone, for putting together the ICF Academy. It's been such a great platform. Yeah, I'd like to talk about business. I'd love to talk about that. I mean, where to start? I think, talking about ICC, I've been to a lot of congresses in North America, mostly, in my camping, my short, compared to all the big leaders in this room, in my short career. But a lot of them, tri-state, national, I mean, Ontario. But this is the ICC is the single largest, I guess, pool of camp, youth professional, outdoor, and related industry folks from all over the world that you will ever find. I'd say that there's a huge gain from joining one of these ICCs, especially looking at thinking of it as culturally for a lot of folks in different parts of the world. Face-to-face conversations are so important in doing business together. That goes for Chinese. I think I've lived in China for long enough, 13 years, to say that is very important for us. And so again, whatever you learned at in your own camp and at congresses close to you, I think that going to one of these will completely flip your world upside down. It did for me. And so I would also want to say that I also joining a number of chambers of commerce here and different associations in my work apart from camp. They always say when you join as a member, they're like, oh, you get as much as you put in. And I think when it comes to the ICC, at least, I think that's not entirely true at all. I mean, once you get there, like it did for me in Hong Kong, you just get absorbed by the community. Friendships happen almost instantaneously. I think it's because we're all in it for kids, and good people want to work with other good people. So why not do business together? Jim said it. In a 10-minute conversation, he's had a dozen trips to China already. And so, I mean, I think it just comes down to, what your aims are for any conference that you go to, for any industry, really. And so relating back to kind of Europe and how this ties into I'm excited. I think it's one of the first, if not the first time that we are touching down in the European continent. Don't mark my words on that, but it is a huge gain for the. It is awesome. It is a huge deal. I think that Carolina, the organizing committee, Fahri, everybody, Georgie, they're doing everything they can to reach us, spread cast a wide net to rope in everybody that is surrounded by camp or neighboring the camping industry. So I think that the Rolodex of clients, the Rolodex of friends, the pool of potential business connections is going to jump to a huge number. For me personally, I mean, I think that the first ICC that I went to was in Hong Kong in 2011, and my roommate was Jan Vieth. I mean, I didn't even know there were camps like that in Germany, and we immediately just became contacts and friends. Try to organize some kids to his camp. And then later, a few years later, I met Alexi from Computeria in Russia and the other folks at Artec, and we sent Chinese kids to those camps. That was amazing to see them. Just, that it's completely different style of camping in Russia. I think everyone, when they meet Valery Kost and everybody in the camping world related to Russia, they'll learn so much of how things are done completely differently there. And it's amazing. We got to get some kids there. There's some other people on this call who also, I'm sure, have sent kids to these camps in Russia as well. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do in Europe. We're really excited to have everybody join. I hope that my little take from what I've gained out of the Congresses in the past has helped you, and we hope to see you. I'm definitely 1,000% going to be there, even though it's been really costly to get out of China at the moment. And but yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to seeing you all, and I hope to bring more professionals from my parts of the world to Spain, so to Tarragona. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Marco, and your passion is infectious, and it's just ICC, it's just endless possibilities. we've heard so many amazing testimonials, and but how do you get the most out of this Congress? We're going to head to next video and to talk about getting the most out of Spain.
I want to make sure that this Congress helps us get together and share more experiences. And also, I want to make sure that the rest of the world knows how we do things here in Spain. So that's my main goal.
スペインのキャンプのプロフェッショナルと会うのは初めてです。今からとっても楽しみです。皆さんお会いしましょう。
As an industry, we've definitely lost a bit of connection, being able to travel freely, being able to meet face to face, and that is one huge value of the ICF, is that we're a people-to-people community. It's very important for us to come together, share ideas, hug one another, just be together. And so I can't stress enough why it's crucial for this Congress to happen.
First of all, have a lot of fun and learn new things. I'm really expecting to learn a lot about these new issues that are bothering us at camp right now, or making our lives a little bit more complicated, like all these mental health issues that we've been dealing with. Or I would love to understand how other camps around the globe work around the inclusion of the sexual identification or sexual gender campers. So from the learning part, I'm very eager to hear about what people do around the world. From a personal point of view, I want to see friends. I want to have fun with them. I want to meet new friends, and I want to feel part of something bigger. And I think the ICC, if you work at camps, is the best way to feel part of something bigger. So don't think about it, join now, you won't regret it.
Definitely, there's topics such as mental wellness and the impact of COVID has had on our youth, and those gap years that our young ones have been experiencing, and that after effect is certainly an after effect that a lot of us are feeling around the world, and will be a large topic in sessions, but also around the table in hallways. When we're talking about teams, I'd like to invite Jeff back on stage. Jeff, I'm curious. I've seen you at congresses, and I've seen you at congresses with some of your staff members, people that are connected to Winona. Talk about how you're able to facilitate, bringing people from your organization to a Congress, and some of the benefits that you've experienced from doing this.
Thanks, Gabs. I'll be brief. I know we're a little short on time. I think the simple approach is invite people to be involved. And we don't do that enough. We don't share the information with our staff, with our communities. So we've had a lot of staff over the years attend things like congresses, but we've told people about it. We've told our seasonal staff, we've told our alumni, we've told our broader community. And I'm always amazed at the number of people that put up their hand and say, tell me more, I'd like to go. They have paid for that themselves. They have their own means of travel, their own means of covering those costs. They see the value in the Congress. But the first step is you need to invite people. You need to communicate what you're doing and why you're doing it. So our staff team, about 160, 70 this year, I've told them about the Congress a year and a bit away. They're aware of that. Our alumni staff receive information shortly about it. So invite people to be involved. Please do that. I think we make the mistake of thinking the Congress is only for us or for a few key full-time staff. And I think what's missed is getting more people involved and more people passionate about what we do with camp. And I've seen that benefit us in so many ways in our own camp setting, with people moving forward in their lives, making connections. So that's my simple message is, you need to invite people to be involved. We all know that in our lives. I rarely will put my hand up to do things, but if somebody says to me, if Carolina says, Jeff, I'd like you to help with something, I'm going to say yes because I've been invited. And the Congress invitation is the same way. Invite your people to be involved. You'll be surprised at who says yes.
And I can say from personal experience, our organization learned from your organization, and it's something that we do. And that invitation goes such a long way when those staff members come back, either as alumni to support our organization, or just that image of we're part of something bigger. I didn't know that. And that perspective, it is fuel that fuels our camps. It truly is something that we couldn't put a price tag on, and our staff also paid their own way, but letting them know early, inviting them and telling them why we think and why we want them to join, why we want them to be part of it. It's truly a special experience. Thank you so much for sharing. I'd love to bring back Carolina onto the stage, because for me, a theme is key when running a camp, and it is key when we're talking about a Congress. Carolina, this theme is such a special theme, and I think it really speaks to where we are today. Can you tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind the theme and what it means?
Okay, yes, our theme or our slogan is get together to raise higher. And it's basically because in our part of the world, we have something which is amazing. And some of you have, saw it when you came over to Tarragona. We do these human castles. These human castles, it's a very complicated way of organizing to make sure that people don't fall. There's a whole structure behind it, but basically the piña, Fem Pinya, is the base, which means that when we get together, we are stronger. And in our case, we were also inspired by the fact that in Spain, there wasn't an association of camps which belong to the whole country, Spain, because here we have different community, autonomous communities. So we have the Catalonia area, we have Madrid area or Andalusia, and they all had their own associations because we had our own regulations and our way of working, organizing camps. And because of COVID, we realized that unless we got together and we came together as a lobby and went to the government and push hard to be able to organize our camps, if it hadn't been for that, we wouldn't have been together in such a way. So in the end, we had a Telegram group, and we were all sharing and working together to organize the protocol and giving them ideas on how to organize things. It was an amazing experience. And after, when everything started, we got together and we were able to organize one only camp organization or association, which is Ania Camp. So both things put together, the idea of the human towers, which are based in Tarragona, which is now also a world UNESCO cultural thing, together with the association. I think it was a good idea to have this as a theme, slogan, because we all have in common the children. We want them to be the center of attention, because that's the purpose of our organizations, camps. So to have everyone together and make sure that we raise the children higher, we make the most of their values, their way of growing up. And so I think it was, ideal from our point of view. I think it's a very good idea for the theme of the Congress.
A strong base so we can lift people higher. And that's what the Congress is building that strength within our community. We're about to wrap up our workshop for today. I'd like to invite my good friend Alexia back to the stage just to talk about pricing real quick.
Hello again. Okay, I need my little notes. I can't remember all these numbers by heart. Okay, so when registering, you go to the shopping cart and select what you want to do. First of all, you select your Congress participation, either as an ICF member or not as an ICF member. These are the first two you see here. I strongly encourage you to become first ICF members and then register, because the discount is considerable and it makes sense. From this, if you come with also family members, you can buy family member tickets, one per person. They can participate in the plenary events, the Friday excursion, and the social events, not the main educational and parallel sessions. Other than that, you need to get gala dinner tickets, one per person. Again, depending how many people you will be there for the closing nights. If you are born after 1994, you get the Young Leaders Prize. That is it. I will not discuss about the day fees here, because this is mostly about people who already are in Spain and may come only for one day and go back, which is not our case here. We're gonna be there for the full time. In the shopping cart, you can also select your hotel rooms. And if you want to participate in the Jim Cain workshop, and you can pre-order your ICF t-shirts, sweatshirts, and flag to fly proudly in your camp.
That'd be perfect. I think that's the takeaway. If there is any questions that you have, if people have, Alexia, what's the best way for them to get in touch with somebody from the conference committee?
So there's one email about the Congress, and you can send all your questions there. It's the info@icc2023spain.org, if I say it correctly, but it's on the website everywhere. So anything you need, you can email us there. Also for visa invitation letters, you can email us with the names and the personal details of the people who need them, so that the Congress Center can prepare the letters.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I know, Alexia, you need to head out, so I appreciate that. Please do what you need to do, and please do write within that email. I will include that. Maybe, Alexia, you can just pop that email
It's in the
into
chat.
the chat.
It's in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, it's in the chat. Simone just added
Much
it. Thank you,
appreciated.
Simone.
I just want to give a space to our former president and our conference chair, Carolina, up on the stage, followed by Fahri. Just final words before we just show you the QR code to register for the Congress. Welcome back, Carolina.
Yes, all I want to say is, where else can you find people who talk about the same things as you? Being able to talk about not only the children, because you can talk to teachers about children and their development and educational side. You can talk to people about business or marketing, but to have everything in one, I think is the best, because we deal with health issues, we have educational problems, we have I don't know, even the cooks and the food, the cleaning stuff, we have the maintenance, we have activities, we have to talk about every single thing that takes part in a camp. So to be able to share this with all the people from different parts of the world, I think it's the main reason why we have this Congress. So please come over. We want to hear you. We want to share our knowledge. So, and we want to learn, as Tennant said, we want to learn.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Fahri, final words.
Thank you thanks to everyone who participated. Thanks to you, Gabs, and thanks to Alexia, who has been doing a great job, and organizing committee, Carolina, Georgi, everyone. Everyone's dream is to to get together and leave Spain with great feelings, great friendships, great ideas. I can guarantee that it will be the best ICC Congress in ICF history. So, and we are all working for this, and looking forward to seeing you there.
As a final note, take a screenshot of this slide or use your phone to look at this QR code so that you can get registered for the super early bird registration. As we say, want you to register before the new year. For me, the Congress, it's like camp. Camp is for our families and our campers, and the Congress is the camp that camp professionals need. And sometimes it's hard to explain if you don't go, but I think people today, with their passion and enthusiasm, I think you could feel that impact. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that did attend. For those of you that would like to stay for another 5 minutes, I know we said we would stay for about 10, but we are getting rapidly close to our cutoff time, but we would be happy to have a little after party. So thank you for everybody that participated. Gwen, Alexia, Simon behind the scenes, thank you for supporting this event, and everybody at the Congress committee, thank you for putting on what can seem like an impossible task, much like camp, to bring us together.
Jo soc Tarragona.
Welcome to the after party, everybody. Feel free to unmute yourself when you're speaking. If you're not speaking, keep your mute on. And if you feel comfortable, maybe turn on your camera so we can see your face, maybe your location.
So Jim, I do remember the amazing trip to Home Depot, and now it's one of my hobbies too. I go and build stuff and make activities as you show me about 15 years ago. It's amazing, 14 years ago.
we were at ICC Quebec, and this guy comes up to me and says, I need to go, to Montreal. And I said, well, I'm going that way. So we ended up in a van for hours chatting. And I went to a camping conference in Canada and met Gabby's mom, Jackie. And she said, there's going to be an event in Quebec in a couple of years. I'd like you to come to this. It was right after the Mexico ICC. I didn't know her. I didn't know anything about it. A couple of years later, she said, okay, it's happening. I need you to come to Quebec. And honestly, my GPS stopped working in Montreal. I didn't know if I was ever going to get there. It was like off the edge of the map of where I'd ever traveled to before. And I met Juan Mario. I met Anero from Mexico. I met all these amazing people, and it was a precious experience. So that was my first ICC.
I am excited to be here in the after party. I heard that parties are better when the after party comes. That happens at the ICC too. So I never miss one. And being in this after party, I can say that the ICC is like a party. It's our celebration, our 3-year celebration of gathering and sharing what we do professionally and what we do for living and for passion. And being there is so, I feel so proud to be there when I share with all these professional people that give their life to change the world. When I was in the first time in an ICC, that was in St. Petersburg, long time ago. And I came there as a beginner, as an entrepreneur in the camping industry in Colombia. I was young, and I was able to see all these old fellows that really were abroad of what I was doing. I found myself around people who was as crazy as I was, and I felt like I was not lonely in the world trying to change the world through the childhood. So I met Jack Pierce and Armand Ball, and people who was really giving me a motivation of continuing doing what I was doing. And that changed my world. That changed my way of doing the things. Yes. And I started to work more motivated on what I was doing. So for those who are thinking of this, not only go there, but also encourage people to go with you, others, young counselors, those that you see that are leaders that will follow your lead into the camping, bring them on, help them, even financially, if you can help them in a little bit to be there and share with all this knowledge, that will make the change, that will make the difference.
Carolina, you touched, I think, on a really important topic that we ought to really keep in mind, that we are opening the doors in the EU area and inviting a fresh look for all of us about how youth development takes place in Europe. And we have been in touch with presenters, with communities that don't use the word camp in the same way that we do, but who are in fact doing the same things that we're doing. And that will be, I think, a real an additional explosion. I think I used that several times in the video earlier, but this is a real coming together, I think, of the EU community of youth development and the ICF community from around the world, and that will be, I think, valuable for all of us.